Thanks, man. Thanks for coming up.
Absolutely, man.
Thank you for
It's my honor, man.
all these beautiful paintings. We got Draculino. We got Jeff Glover, a.k.a. Tony Ferguson. Mike Tyson. Andy, our coach Andy, our Muay Thai coach. You got me. We got Murilo Bustamante, Hoist Gracie. And we got the team, the dream team.
Yeah, it was my honor to design such a big. It's a big project, man. It was nice.
We got the brick.
From the lighting to the. When I came here, God, them curtains were.
But new, so we got our lighting on point.
You were living like an animal when I got here. But yeah, much better.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. So you got to tell me your history, you know, with that, how that. What did you do Jiu-Jitsu first, or did you do some other?
BJJ,
You're from Philly.
Yeah, BJJ first, man. I saw UFC 1 and 2 live, and I think by UFC 3.
So you went to Denver.
I didn't. I saw them on pay-per-view.
Oh, okay. Live. I see.
Correct. And then by
On
UFC
TV.
3, I was living in Barra da Tijuca.
So you moved to Brazil.
Yeah, right away. Didn't tell my girlfriend nothing. I feel awful about it now, but I was down there for like 5 weeks before I called back, and I was like, I'm in Brazil doing jiu-jitsu. And everybody, my mom, they're like, what's jiu-jitsu? But yeah, just
So you watched the first two UFCs.
fell in love with Royce Gracie, man. Couldn't believe that some scrawny guy without throwing a single punch, without any violence, could just, do that to everybody. He ran through the field time and time again. It blew me away, man.
Yeah. So what year did you go down to Brazil?
My sense of time is so skewed. I couldn't even tell you.
So you watched the first two, probably 94.
Something like
Okay.
that.
And so you went to Gracie Baja?
I went to, I stayed in Baja Palace.
Baja Palace, okay.
In Barra da Tijuca, and Tata Duarte had
Ah,
a
okay.
school underneath, and Leo Dalla had a school underneath.
Okay.
So I would fly down there.
What was it called? Baja Brothers? No, it was
It was just Tata. I think
Tata
was his
Jiu-Jitsu.
name, yeah. And Leo Dalla was there also for a while.
Tata is like 300 pounds, right?
He was.
He was.
More like 500.
500 pounds.
But unbelievably technical.
Yeah.
Unbelievably technical. He made that 500 pounds feel like 3,000.
At a certain point, you probably don't, Okay. Man, so Tata was 500 pounds.
He had
But
about 15, 20 black belts under him, and this was the time when there were like no black belts in the States.
Right.
It was a purple belt and a brown belt here, so it was like crazy to go down there. I'd go down there. I'd take the freight elevator. He had all these extra pads. I'd bring him up to my apartment. I'd push all my furniture out into the third room, and I had my whole family room, floors and walls matted, and I would just call in the best guys and just do privates, like Fretz and Alves, you know him?
Yeah, of course.
Leo Dalla, and just have him up to my apartment. And
So you had an apartment in Baja?
In Baja Palace, yeah.
Baja Palace.
Yeah, and just did privates up in my apartment, and then trained downstairs with Tata and Gracie Baja, and bounced all over. It was
Okay.
time of my life, man.
Fretz and Elvis, huh?
Yeah.
Damn. And then you went back stateside, back to
I
Philly?
would stay like 7-8 months in Brazil, and then I'd go back to the States for like 3-4 months, make some money, and then come back and then live like a king for a year. The dollar was like 4 to 1 then, so.
That had to be later, because the first, I went in 90, I think it was 96. I went in 96, and I know that because the dollar was 1 to 1. And then the next year,
Oof.
so it was 1 to 1, 96. I think it was 95 maybe. And then so like the next year, I know 98, I was able to get a car and stuff because it basically doubled, and then it like tripled even, but it was like it doubled, And so I was like super poor. So I had to be like later in the 90s. Yeah.
2000 even.
Okay.
Yeah. Like my sense of time is really, really, I don't pay much attention to this sense of time, but yeah, the dollar was like 3 to 1, 4 to 1. So it was like, you go down there, you live like a king. Maid service. I was on the top floor. My balcony overlooked the beach. Incredible.
Who'd you know down there that kind of hooked you up with the apartment? And all that?
Nobody originally. I went down with my team, Maxercise. Everyone went down to compete for the Worlds, and somehow I just went down like 2 months early ahead of everybody and just kind of, dug my feet in, and that was it.
Tell me the history of Philly, like jiu-jitsu in Philly. Like Steve Maxwell, right? Was like kind of was he the first one to teach jiu-jitsu there?
Yeah, pretty much.
And then
Even after he was established, Henzo, I remember, tried to start a school about 2 blocks from his and got
in Philly.
and got wiped out. Yeah, because he was just so well established. He was one of the first. I heard you had spoken with him. I heard you got some funny.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of like a guru kind of guy, like
he's-
good kettlebells and things like that, right? And just lifestyle. And I went to go train with him like when I was gonna fly out to Barcelona to do this another certification, and he was doing like a jiu-jitsu for a lifetime workshop at the Gracie Academy. So I went to go train with him or just learn and see how he was, since he was in town and it was on the way for me. And then I told him what I was doing, and he got all like uppity up about Scott Sonnen, and I told him that it's really changed me, really helped my life, and he kept like kind of saying negative things, and I was like, well, sure, like whatever he was saying, but he just didn't listen to what I was telling him, He just wanted to say negative things, and he didn't need to. He could have been like, he could have said like, good for you, good for you. I'm happy for you, whatever, I wasn't coming from an ego place or whatever. I was just saying what it's done for me, and I'm grateful. And it was nice to meet him finally. He's ref some of my matches, so it's just good to kind of do a class with him, and it was just kind of for that. And after he said that, I was like, I kind of lost respect in a way,
Tends to go from fad to fad, from what I noticed.
Okay.
But I don't have anything bad to say about him. I mean, what a great guy. I mean, to me, he was like he started everything. Like,
no, for sure.
everybody that has a school on the East Coast was in my class was under him at one point.
Yeah. No, he's for sure like ahead
Everyone that I
of
trained
the
with, including the Migleris brothers.
Right.
All them guys. He
was ahead of the time, right?
Yeah.
Ahead of the time.
Big time.
Yeah. Yeah. So for sure, like it was like a respect thing for me. But then when he said that, I was like, man, he's being disrespectful. There was no reason.
But
He should be at a certain spot in his life, right, where he's not.
He was
to feel like he has to
nuts, man.
prove.
I remember he used to wake his kid up with a cold bucket of water every morning. Who's like a beast now, Zach Maxwell.
Yeah. When I talked to him, he said that he stopped training.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know if that's still the case. That was already like probably 3-4 years ago.
That's disheartening.
Yeah.
He was like a monster.
He was a monster, beast. Yeah.
Good for him, man. I mean, he grew up in it. He literally grew up in it. I mean,
Yeah. He was a tough kid. He was a tough kid. I watched
there,
him, and he was definitely like, he's up there for sure. But Steve Maxwell's done a lot for jiu-jitsu, and I think kettlebells too, and that kind of training, right? Different type of training.
Yeah.
So.
He was open to everything,
Right.
But again, kind of like a fad thing, I remember one month he was into the all meat diet, no carbs, and the next month it was always like, switching something.
Well, that's the thing. He said we talk about club bells, and he's like, yeah, you don't want to be doing the heavy club bells. He's telling me, and it's like something I've been doing, and it's really helped me. It's really helped my joints, really helped my body, really helped my brain. And he was telling me like, oh, you don't want to be using those club bells. It's not good for you. And it just the fact that he had never gone, it just showed me that he had never gone deep enough, in that type of training.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it told me without having to talk too much about it. But I just let it be, I was like, thanks for the class, and it's nice to meet you.
God bless him.
And I just let it be, but it kind of like, I had thought of him like much higher, and I just kind of like, it's too bad,
You take it what it's worth, take what you can,
Yeah.
But I mean, guy lives out of a backpack now and travels the world and is so passionate, man.
Yeah.
And to stay with it this long.
For sure.
And to just start what he did, he's just spawned everything on the East Coast as far as I'm concerned, man.
Yeah.
I mean, at least 10 people I know have thriving schools that were all,
What are some of the names?
Jared Weiner, Brad Court, the Migleris brothers, Marco Peraza, Joe Pirelli before that, Frankie Ambrifi.
I mean, just those names alone. And so then Lloyd Irvin, he he got his black belt from Leo Dalla and those guys. So how did that connection? Were you? Yeah, it was that same era, right? When you were there.
I met Lloyd a couple times through Leo when I was training with Leo. I used to just take privates with Leo. Great guy, man. Always like this far away from laughing, man. And he used to love Herman, man. Herman in the Yellow House.
Bob
That's
Herman.
all he used to talk about is Herman in the Yellow House. Bobby was so excited about the Yellow House. It's all Leo wanted to talk about. But yeah, so I knew Leo, and then I met Lloyd through there. I went down to his school in Ohio or something?
Maryland.
Maryland. Went down to his school. Unbelievable school. He's I rolled with him once. He's like, you ever heard him coach?
Who?
Lloyd Irvin.
Yeah, of course. I went to his gym a few times.
It's almost like it's unfair, like to have him as your coach. Like the guy knows I never heard anyone coach like that. He knows 10 moves in advance with the guy. It's mind blowing. He really impressed me, man.
He has a strong mind and does his work.
He impressed me more so than.
And he's been doing great work. I know he had a lot of, controversy and stuff, but I just know what he's done with his kids, in his program, and he's created these kids. He's probably at risk kids like single moms or whatever, and made them like a lot of them. I see him going to like Ivy League schools.
That's awesome.
And becoming like black belt world champions, homegrown black belt world champions.
Yeah.
Like who else can say that, So I just know that because he used to compete against our kids in New Mexico, and I know what he did for all those kids. He would, van them up. It's not a thing to make money. He's investing in what he believes in.
He was past the money point when I met him. I remember we went to this mall in Barra de Juca, and honest to God, I shit you not, he had sat there and answered emails for maybe 9 hours straight.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah, he was. It's not by accident that he has the success that he has, man.
Yeah.
And Fowler was one of his prize students. He was like a purple belt back then.
Like Fowler?
Yeah, he was down there with us. He was part of the crew. And then, I'd go to Tata. Had different schools in the favelas like Hacinia and stuff. That was a blast. That was an experience going into Hacinia and training and seeing what that was like. It really gave you a sense of appreciation for two things you don't realize that you have, especially if you're an American, that the rest of the world is clamoring after. One is to be a U.S. citizen, and two is to speak English. And we're born with them two things. And until you visit another country and spend time in a third world country, like, you'll never know those two gifts, But those two gifts alone are like, you got it made,
Yeah. Yeah. What are some of the memories you have with the kids? Do you remember a lot of kids training?
At Hacinia, there was a lot of kids training,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, just good times. I remember they always, always used to give them the gis and everything was provided for them. And
Yeah.
I can't say enough good things about it. I mean, for me, jiu-jitsu, like, once you get to a certain level, it like reverberates through every area of your life. It doesn't matter what it is, you carry that with you. That I don't want to say pride. I don't like the word pride, but confidence.
Yeah, for sure.
It reverberates through every area of your life, man. Any endeavor that you go after, you're going to carry that with you. And that's huge.
Yeah.
Huge. So many kids are lacking that. Self-confidence is almost everything.
Yeah.
Almost everything.
Yeah. You went to art school.
I did.
Was that before jiu-jitsu or during?
Right when about the same time, I would constantly skip, how hard is it to pass art school? I would constantly, just go sign in, and then I'd go right to my exercise, and I just remember running up them steps to open mat. It was, the best days of my life, running up them steps to open mat, man. So I missed a lot of art school, but I paid attention when I could. Wound up graduating. Not that it makes a difference, but I graduated.
You tell me this. You shared with me the story of you getting into art school. I don't know if that's
right. I actually cheated my way in. I went to one of the best art schools in the country.
You got denied, or you?
I got rejected.
Rejected
twice.
that's the word. Rejected
Twice.
Twice. Okay.
Yeah, twice. And then the third time, I smartened up, and I had a friend of mine do some pastels who was an artist, and I'd cut the bottom inch off where she signed it. re-sign my name and then put that in my portfolio, and then I got accepted into school. And it was a good school. If you graduated this art school for 4 years, and it was only it was a very traditional art school. It was just painting, sculpting, and drawing. There was no computers or none of that stuff. If you graduated 4 years, you got guaranteed acceptance into UPenn. Took 4 art history classes and 4 electives, and you got a bachelor's degree from UPenn. Like, I would have never gotten to UPenn, like, never. So,
What made you want to go to art school? What made you want to go down that path?
I had an aunt that I had tried community college a couple times, and, you know, I was just floundering around and never even thought of it until she had mentioned art school, man. And
your aunt mentioned it to you?
Yeah. So we went and looked at a bunch of art schools, and I applied to maybe 3 or 4 and got accepted into all of them except for the one that was the good one. So it just made me, you know.
Did you used to paint or do anything when you were a kid?
Not particularly, a little bit,
Draw.
but nothing like outstanding. Nothing like this. Like, if you saw my portfolio that I turned in, you would. I mean, it was horrifying. I mean, I burned it. I was ashamed of it. I wish I had it now, but, you know, it was nothing to write home about. That's why I hate the word talent. These people say, "Yo, you're so talented," and this and that. It's not talent, man. Like, I couldn't draw.
I mean, man, you drew my. I don't know if you can see my belt, you know, and the logo and everything on it. But it's just kind of ridiculous how, I mean, that a person, the human brain, can recreate that with.
It's all learned. Anyone can do it, 100%. And I'm the proof, man, 100%. I couldn't draw. Worth of shit.
It's crazy, you know, just that what we're capable of, and that's just it just blows my mind.
Everyone starts at different levels, and everyone progresses at different levels. But I remember the dean of my school telling me something about, you know, because I was in the lower ranks, and he was saying, I can't tell you how many times the 4-year schools, you see the kids that start like all the way up here, and the kids that start down here, and at the end of that 4 years, the flip flop happens. You know.
Why does the flip flop happen? What do you think?
I guess because the kids that are already up there have already maxed out in a sense, where the kids that are just kind of meandering haven't really put their heart into it, haven't really studied it, you know?
What about ego? Do you think that maybe the people that are already up there, they think, oh, I'm already good, and they stop learning, or there's just a certain...
I never really applied ego so much to painting. Jiu-Jitsu, definitely hugely ego. But the painting, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it had a role in it. You know? Whenever you get that, you know, pride cometh before the fall, you know? That's why I said I don't like that word, pride.
I think it has to play a little bit, you know? Like, you need the ego, right, to be able to paint well and do well, because you think of yourself a certain way.
Yeah, you know, maybe that's, to this point, maybe that's why I'm struggling so much, you know? Like, I've been holed up in my room just painting and not putting myself out there enough, you know? I see the stuff that's out there selling for $10,000, $20,000, and upsets me.
What was your goal when you went to art school? What did you have any visions of where you wanted to go with it?
I remember seeing a little bar around the corner when I was in Philly at the time. It had a couple paintings. The owner had a couple paintings, little oil paintings, I guess big, and they were selling for $1,000 a piece. And I thought to myself, man, if I could get to the point where I could just, you know, do a painting and sell them for $1,000 a piece, that'd be great. So that was pretty much that's what got me started.
And
I liked Salvador Dali a lot. He was a big factor in it. I liked what you could stretch it to, you know. Yeah, but as far as ego in jiu-jitsu, man, that's like, to this day, the biggest thing I think I could credit any of my successor is that I was always so quick to tap. Like, it was never a big deal for me to tap. Like, it was always... I would even go out of my way to just, if I went to a new school or something, to roll with somebody, just like tap 3 times and like get that out of the way. Okay, now let's train and now let's learn and let's have fun. You know, now that we got that over the way, like, can't stand that. Like, you know.
You are always good with that.
Yeah.
With that mindset.
Yeah. No problem tapping. No problem. You know?
I wish I could say the same.
It-
And I paid the
it plays
bill.
both it
I'm
plays
just
both sides,
kidding.
you know.
I am, but I'm not.
I was never like a competition animal. I don't know if that mindset would have served me well.
Right.
You know,
You
competing.
didn't compete much, right? You did some.
I did. Usually I was forced into it. I was never a big fan of it. Usually it was for the team or something like that. But I was like 50-50. I either did really well or I just...
Did you do grappler's quest? What were some of the
bunch of
tournaments you
grappler's
did?
quest, yeah.
Okay.
I did the... my big one was that I had that 5-on-5, the 5 best teams on the East Coast and the 5 best on the West
Grappler's
Coast.
quest?
Yeah. And each team took their 5 best competitors. And, man, I smoked through everybody. But the rest of my team lost, so I didn't get to
Who did you compete against?
against.
What teams did you guys compete against? You're on Maxercise team or on...
I was on Balance at this
Balance,
point.
Team Balance.
Maxercise had fallen
moved.
apart, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Phil took over. I couldn't even tell you.
What was the history of the gym, Maxercise? Because I remember, like, Hedges moved to Philly. Hedges Labor, right?
Yeah.
And then, so they were like, I don't know, I guess that's man, I'm going blank with this. Not Hoist.
Pages was a solo.
Solo, but also, man, I'm going blank. Hoyler Gracie.
Right.
Hoyler Gracie. So they became like that affiliate, right?
Yeah. When Phil moved out, he took almost all of his students.
Oh, I see. So Phil was teaching at Maxercise.
Correct. He was like his number one guy, Phil and Ricky. And they branched off. And then Steve hired Hages, I guess, to compensate. And then shortly thereafter, he sold the business to one of his judo students, one of his high-level judo students, John D. Simone.
Is it still there?
Still there.
Still there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Still there. Last I knew, Zach was training there. It was a really good place, but I don't know what's going on now. But I know it's still there. I'm friends with him on Facebook. I just saw a post not too
Interesting.
long ago.
Okay.
Still there, yeah.
So Philman did his own thing, and that's why they brought Hedges in to kind of revamp it and kind of get it back.
They needed something, yeah.
Steve was already kind of burnt out. It had been a lot of years.
I think so. And then I think him and his wife might have been having some troubles.
Okay. And that's when he went on his nomadic journeys, traveling from city to city.
Yeah.
Interesting. His son Zach was already grown up at that time?
No, Zach was a young kid. When I was at Maxercise, he was young, like, a little over my knee. He was a little kid.
But when Hedges came, he was still
older,
a kid?
but still a kid, yeah.
He was a teenager?
Yeah, still in his teens for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of fascinated by like some of the histories, because like Team Balance, right? Like they had a lot of black belts. They have a lot of black belts. Like how many black belts do you think they've created out of the gym? Phil and Rick.
I don't know, because he has so many affiliate schools now that I couldn't even keep track of it,
Right.
I mean, just his affiliate schools, he probably has 30, 40 affiliate schools all over the world. So who knows how many black belts he has by now. It's funny to think there was a time where I remember the first time I was in Brazil, I remember calling back home being like to my jiu-jitsu friends, like, man, you can just go out to a restaurant and get something to eat and you could see like cage fighting on TV. It's crazy here.
In Brazil.
In Brazil. And now it's like that here.
Yeah.
Like, unbelievable.
Did you ever think it was going to get to mainstream TV?
Never like this.
Like NBA, NFL, and UFC?
Never like this, man.
I didn't think so either.
Never. I just can't believe it. And props to Dana White. If it wasn't for him, his story is out of this world, man. He was down to like his last. The Fertitta brothers were like, all right, this is your last $10 million we're giving you, and it was for the Ultimate Fighter show.
Right.
And then that was it. They were pulling the plug. And that was just when they made it. But it's amazing to think that it takes that long to pump money into something that, like, people just love.
Yeah.
Like, why did it take so long to catch on? I don't know. For me, it was instantaneous.
Right.
It was always the big thing. Who wins, the wrestler or the kickboxer? It's like the age-old question, And there were so many karate schools at the time.
Right.
It's like on every block in the States,
Right.
there was a karate school with 200-300 people. But, no jiu-jitsu schools.
No jiu-jitsu schools, yeah.
And then you went to Brazil, and it was just the opposite. BJJ school and
It
every
was like
corner.
it was at the same time, right? Once Royce Gracie won in the UFC, that's when the jiu-jitsu schools really exploded, right?
Yeah.
And back in those days, it was kind of like Fight Club, right? A little bit more, rather than like now. It's like it's more professional, and there's
For sure.
But it was more Fight Club.
Again, Dana White did a good job, getting the Nevada State Athletic Commission involved, and he did it right, man.
Yeah.
He did it right.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be mainstream like it is now, but I never really thought of myself of fighting MMA. Did you ever fight MMA?
No.
Did you ever think about it?
Yeah. I've always trained for it. I just never got into the
Competition aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought I would fight either, and then I was like, oh,
I used to
King
get
of the
I
Cage.
used to get so queasy and so like
Yeah, that's part of it,
nauseous
right?
and,
Is being able to deal with
couldn't
the
stand
stress.
that feeling, man. Couldn't stand that feeling. And cutting weight.
Yeah,
I don't know how they do it today. That's like one of the biggest
it's 2 fights, right? It's 2 fights.
secrets in UFC is the weight cutting. It's like no one talks about it. Like I used to have to lose. I used to fight at 149. I used to have to lose like 6 pounds, and it was fucking hell.
Yeah, it
How
hurts.
these guys lose 25, 27, 32, 35 pounds and then put it back on in a day and then fight the next day at the level they do is beyond me. That is something that I can never comprehend. I don't think I could ever do that.
You can, just like you said on the painting. Anybody
Yeah,
can do it.
yeah.
If you put your mind to
Yeah.
it. But I think that's another testament of the human spirit. Just doing those kinds of things. Like I don't think it's good for your health, right? To
No,
cutting weight is, the what do you call it? The fasting and all that, or whatever you got to do to the calorie restrictions is probably good, to a certain extent, right? Until you start getting really
their
skinny.
liver's shut down. They
No,
have
for
to
sure,
have a
for sure, for
doctor
sure.
monitor their
And then,
liver
for
functions
sure.
and
And then,
stuff,
and then you cut that crazy water weight, and so your brain is dehydrated, and then you're weighing in, and then you fight, right, the next day.
And when you're already in elite shape,
No, for sure.
it's like
No,
you don't have
it's
the pound
crazy.
to lose.
Yeah, so you diet down, right? You eat less calories and you keep training, and then depending how much you have to cut, right? But for sure, there's gonna be some water weight, right? And so you do your water tricks, and then it's just crazy. And then the last piece is like sauna or jacuzzi or however you do it,
And then your buddies have to just carry you out
Yeah,
on
yeah.
a flatbed,
Yeah,
basically.
it's crazy, man. It's crazy, especially those hard weight cuts,
I don't think there's a fighter in the UFC that weighs in 20 pounds heavier the next day. Even in the 45 division.
Well, they changed it, right, a little bit, where you have to weigh in before.
You get to weigh in a little bit earlier now. I think you get to weigh in the morning
In the morning, right?
of Friday.
Because they would have you weigh in. It's like a spectacle, right? A show. And then you have to do interviews, and, it's like the
Right.
night before.
Right.
So it's not really
So you weigh in Friday, and then the spectacles happen Friday
later.
when you already made
right,
it. Yeah.
right.
But they also stopped a lot of stuff like you
The
can't,
IVs,
you can't
right,
IV,
which isn't good, I
hydrate
think.
and stuff. And I agree, man. Some of them guys are just. I don't get the big advantage of taxing your body that much. Is it that big of an advantage?
It can be, It can be.
I mean, just to not have to cut that weight and just.
I mean, because it's like a professional, so there's a lot of things on the line, right?
I know. I guess.
Like if
when
you
get to
lose
that-
one fight, you're only as good as your last fight. And so if you lose, it's it's devastating, right? For financially, it can be financially and everything else. Your
I guess
your
when
stock,
you get
you know?
to that elite level, like even a pound, 2 pounds, like normally it doesn't matter. But when your skills are equal, and you're
I think
at
it's
that-
right. It's a lot of things, right? Jiu-jitsu too, I think jiu-jitsu is a little bit different, because there's not so much. There's a lot on the line, and it's the same thing at the highest levels, I think. But your skill level, right, and styles make fights too, right? And then so you're fighting against, but your skill level, and then of course if the weight cut is gonna make that difference, it's worth it, right? It's worth it. But jiu-jitsu,
Guess so.
because there's so many matches, right, for the tournaments, you don't know who you're gonna match up with. So I think, it does help to cut down a little bit, right? But not to that extreme where it's bad for your
that's
health.
where it gets me. Cut down a little bit, 5-10 pounds, I'm fine with. But like 20-30 pounds, I just that's beyond my comprehension. I just
What gets me is the IV, the lack IV, but it's because you can mask, I guess, steroids and stuff. I don't know. I miss like the Pride days.
yeah
The guys are totally like juiced out and yoked up and
encouraged
what's that?
to do
Encouraged, right?
it. Yeah. Yeah, those days were crazy. Peter Belford and
Victor Belfort. Who were some of your favorite fighters back? Pride fighters.
in Pride. Peter Belford was one. Bustamante was one.
Bustamante.
Who else?
Yeah, you got that.
Hard to remember.
What's the poster? He says, your practice.
The practice is the teacher. Your practice is your teacher.
Why did you choose that saying over the Murlo Bustamante painting that you did?
I think that was his quote.
Uh.
I believe so. I had another one by Pede Pano, and it. I forget the quote. I'll think about it before the end of this, but it was a really good quote by Pede Pano. It was a good one.
Who were your favorite jiu-jitsu guys?
I also liked the shootbox team in Pride. Shogun, Silva. They were just animals with the soccer kicks. And
Yeah. Vanderlei Silva.
Yeah. Some of my jiu-jitsu fighters, just pure grapplers.
No, I think in jiu-jitsu tournaments, since that's what you came up with, right?
Like UFC.
Yeah, I think for us, like it was all intertwined, right? Like, now there's definitely like a sports jiu-jitsu sect, but back in those days, it was very like it was all intertwined, right? Like UFC, Pride, and even like Mario Sperry's and those guys, like they were still doing jiu-jitsu tournaments, right, at the Worlds.
Right.
So like it was very intertwined, right? Like they were really, really representing jiu-jitsu. So I'm just thinking like from a jiu-jitsu perspective, like a tournament perspective, like who are your favorite? Who are you like fans of? From a jiu-jitsu competitor, like a world-class level.
I mean, I always liked Hoyes, Henzo, those guys.
For MMA and like they inspired you.
Them. And in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. How about like in tournaments? Or you were never really hardcore into the tournament, like?
Nah, yeah, I was pretty hardcore in the tournaments. I just forget a lot of stuff.
Okay, but what about competitors? Like for me, like I have to say, like Saulo was like one of my greatest influences as far as like tactics and strategies and.
For sure, he was up there.
Like I used to be I never trained with him, but I was really like obsessed of all the things that he talked about, and I would watch his tapes and I would see how he would actually implement it in his matches, And so I really learned a lot from him without even training with him ever.
Right.
So he's definitely like, and then what he's won every division pretty much, right? Lightweight through ultra heavy.
Yeah.
And being like a lighter weight, right? So he won every division except for absolute. But then his brother finished the job for him.
Yeah.
Shanji Ribeiro.
I went to his house one time in Brazil, I remember, and we were sitting there, and he was like...
Saulo?
Yeah. He was like, look around, something. And he had a pretty nice place, man. He's like, it makes me so happy about this place, why I'm so proud of this place. He's like, it's all because of jiu-jitsu.
Saulo said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's all jiu-jitsu.
He inspires me until this day.
Everything you see is all because of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu got me all this. And he had a nice place, you know. But I thought that was pretty cool. That was really cool, actually, Someone once said to me, what's a successful artist? And they said, everyone gave their answers. And he's like, no. It's like someone who makes their living as an artist, And that was like Saulo, He made his living as a jiu-jitsu practitioner when it was a very hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Very hard thing to do. I mean, I remember when you would win the Worlds in Brazil and you would get like a coupon for a bag of chips and a free soda at your next tournament. Like that was your prize.
Pretty much.
And the medal. But that was it. It was all a prestige thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which more credit to them guys. I mean, that's awesome that they had that passion to just that kind of, like any other sport, they would have been signed, multi-million-dollar contracts, $50, $100 million contracts, any of them top-level guys, except in jiu-jitsu. You're the best in the world, and you get a medal.
Back in my day, right, or, like 90s and early 2000s, right, like they didn't have all these, like, professional tournaments. Like they had, I think one of the first tournaments that they had where they had money was I think Ohio, the Helson Gracie, the
Arnold's
Arnold's
Classics.
Arnold Classics.
Yeah.
And we met there, right?
We met there. I didn't know you, but Shaolin, who you fought, had stayed at my house the night before, and I drove him up. Kept him up all night. He was very upset with me, man. It's lighting off fireworks and everything, and he just couldn't understand it, man.
Hey, did you keep him up for real?
Oh yeah,
Yeah?
Yeah, he was pissed. Cops came like 2-3 times.
So I competed against him that weekend.
And you fought against him like next day or the day after.
Okay.
With very little sleep.
Okay, so I got lucky. My match, I was a brown belt, and he was a 3-time black belt world champion. It was 0-0, so I thought it was because that you helped me.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
Arnold Classic.
Did you ever see when? Did you ever get the chance to see Arnold come through?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Like the 20-person
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, it's just
like,
powerful.
What was that?
It's powerful.
That was
yeah.
Arnold. That
it's
was the Schwartz.
It's powerful.
Holy
yeah.
shit, man.
Yeah, it's something else. It's something else. It's something else to be a part of. And so it was really cool to have a jiu-jitsu tournament, right? Being a part of that whole thing.
And even some of the gymnastics I was watching were out of this world.
Ridiculous, yeah.
The whole thing was
the whole fitness, the whole everything about it. Everything is like world class, So for us to be a part of that thing was a big deal.
Yeah, good for him, man. Good for him.
Yeah. I was just thinking about like the highest level, the elite levels, and to be able to make a living of what you love to do, right? Is a gift and a blessing. But don't you think that it's a blessing, or not a blessing, but it is a blessing, but we're lucky to have like a passion, something that we really, really believe in.
I can't stand that word luck, man.
Luck.
I don't like that word luck, man.
No,
I think it means like almost like talent, like you're born with it, or it's like an accident, or it's like given to you.
Right.
Like you don't plant an apple tree and get oranges. Like nature has laws that it doesn't deviate by. Like I know what you mean by lucky, but I always like that. Fortune's the well prepared.
Right.
That I kind of like,
Yeah, I'm just saying we're lucky, but we follow through on what we love to do.
Yeah.
So and I guess I am being humble, right, when I say that, but that's I guess I was saying blessed, or just trying to find the word of being able to do what you love to do.
Sure.
Isn't that like the true prize and all this?
Sure. That's everything, man. It's everything.
To have that, the love and the passion to be able to, how many hours did you paint straight? Like, for example, Draculino's right behind me.
I don't know, but like I said, whatever answer I give you, like if I said, that took me 30 hours or 15 hours, it took me 20 years to be able to do it in 15 hours.
But just to have that focus, that ability to,
it's a gift. That's the greatest gift a parent I think can give a kid is not only a kid, but in a relationship, just space to just be, not to do anything, just space to be is the greatest gift you can give someone, man. And not hinder them or, let them be.
Yeah. Man, Paul, move over a little bit. I think you're blocking my camera, so I think you moved your chair over.
I'm a very antsy individual.
You're squirrely.
Yeah, squirrely. I was trying to class it up by saying antsy, but squirrely is more
That's the word that Herman was telling me.
Yeah.
It's all good. Man. And so you've been painting. How long you been painting for?
Probably 20 years.
20 years.
I got really serious about it maybe 10 years ago. It kind of became my main income.
And so what are your goals now? What would you like to?
I still don't have any goals, man. Sadly. I know that's a big part of reaching your goals.
I ask Alexandre, Shanji, he's a musician, right? And Jiu-Jitsu black belt also, and like you said earlier, it really resonated with me. Saul, I get to live from what I love to do, And so me teaching jiu-jitsu, like that's, so it's for him, it's like that. He's like, you know what, as far as goals and stuff, whatever happens, but as long as I can take care of myself, and I can live from it, like I'm good.
Yeah, I'm in that boat. I don't have any, crazy. I got a lot of wealthy friends I'm counting on, so I don't have any. I'm happy just doing the best I can and pushing through ceilings on my own. I'm pretty hard on myself with stuff and advancing my art. And
What kind of art? What kind of things have you done or?
I always in school, it was a very classical school. We always worked from the figure. Reason being is a figure. There's no room for error. We were real heavy anatomical studies. We did like classes with UPenn with the dissections and stuff like that. If you're off an eighth of an inch on someone's eye, it's a different person. You can draw a tree and have a branch or a landscape, and you could be way off and have no idea. But with the figure, there's no room for error. So that was like my thing. I wanted to get to the point where I could do the figure perfectly, and then from there, like, branch off. I remember I had a professor of mine look at the student's work, who I thought was unbelievable. His figure work was unbelievable. And I said, what do you think of that? And he said, it's great, but I hope it doesn't stay that way. I didn't kind of get what he meant at first, but now I know what he means. Like, you get to the point where you can paint like a photo, but then you have to go beyond and see where you can push that to, and that's where I'm at the point now. Like, I don't want to just paint like a photo. Like, I know it's a compliment. Sometimes people say it looks like a photo, but, why not go to Kinko's and just blow it up in that case, It's what you can do, push past that, what you can add to it, what you can, manipulate it around, stuff like that. I'm starting to get a sense of my own style. It's coming slow, but.
Like the brush stroke.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of the blackness. I like the black. I'm glad you have this black background. I love painting out of black, man.
How does painting and jiu-jitsu, what are the correlation?
Difficult to say. I don't know that there is one. I love the figure, so I always loved painting jiu-jitsu paintings. I did a lot of fight paintings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm real into anatomy and stuff like that. So anything with the figure, I am very very interested in. So any kind of like fight, people twist it up or anything like that, really I can get into something like that. So that was a hook there.
So no correlation that you can think of.
Outside of it being the figure,
Has it helped your focus? Has it helped, I don't know, just your mindset? Because we talk about confidence, right?
Sure.
Like true confidence.
Sure. Yeah, same thing with painting. That goes through with me for us. Every other endeavor I take it with me. But
yeah, because you're pursuing like you're painting, right? You're pursuing this for a career. Maybe I don't know. I just always think of like, what if jiu-jitsu wasn't in my life, right? Like the confidence and stuff that it gives you to make the right decisions, to follow your heart.
Jiu-jitsu's always been like way above painting. Like to me, nothing can compare to jiu-jitsu. I hope one day to catch my painting up. Like, I'd consider myself like a purple belt in painting. I hope one day that it's still a lot of effort for me to paint. I have to kind of force myself to do it almost. And with jiu-jitsu, it was never like that. It was like, bam, running up them steps. Like, nothing could be better, than running an open mat. Nothing. I would love for it.
I know what you mean.
I would love for it to be like that with painting, and it's starting to get there slowly, but it's not the same.
You turn me on to the colored bulbs.
Yeah.
Could you talk about it?
Yeah, the hue
like
mix.
the hue, like they
change
change.
Bulbs. That most people don't know that even white light comes in spectrums. Kelvin, they call it. It starts in like 2700 is like the low range, which is like a very warm light, almost like an orangish, like flesh tone.
And you paint in different colors, right?
And then it goes up to 6500, which is like a blue cubicle fluorescent light, which is specifically designed for cubicles so that you don't like
fall
drowns
asleep.
off. Yeah, it's very, you know, when
Right,
your
the
brain,
blue light.
Yeah.
That's on our cell phones.
Yeah. So
That messes you up.
These hue lights, they let you control your light. It's a game changer, man. Once you get used to it and you have it in one room, you'll see it everywhere you go. You'll just be like, you'll walk up to someone's house and you'll see their porch light and you'll be like, my God, that's an awful light.
Yeah, the blue light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blue glaring, way too many watts, like right in your face, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize
You open the door and you see every like pore and imperfection in your face, you know?
With the blue light.
They weren't meant for that. Blue lights weren't meant for that. They were meant to keep you awake and keep you working in your cubicle.
It's like the bugs, right? They go towards the blue light.
Yeah.
The mosquito
Yep.
Killers. Yeah. The first time I got turned on to the whole light thing, you know, just was one of those neuroscience courses that I did, and they showed you a thing. Well, we had these different colored glasses, and your whole body would, you know, you could jump higher, you could, you know, your mobility would, your body would constrict depending on the color, right? And everybody's nervous system's different, so everybody reacts different ways, you know. But how much effect color has on your brain and how your abilities, right?
Yeah, I think it can be huge, man.
And so when you showed me that, it blew my mind. I was like, what? And you're like, yeah, it's the 21st century.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, you know, because the only time I changed the settings on my phone, I showed it to you, you know, like from blue light, the green light seems to be very good for me, you know. So when I get tired, or, you know, maybe the blue light's too much,
Really
I go to green.
It really does cause a physiological reaction in your body.
Yeah.
It causes a release of different chemicals, different lights.
Exactly. So
and like I was saying, with the color they paint prisons, the color they paint schools, the color they paint certain institutions, it's all by design. Nothing's by chance.
Yeah. It's pretty cool that, you know, we have that ability to just change a light bulb, right? Get those special. Is it Philips? No, it's
Philips Hue.
Philips Hue. Yeah. You get those light bulbs, and you can do that in your house, you know.
You can even put a song on it and even like flicker with the song.
Yeah.
Into the song.
Yeah. But just the color thing, I was like, whoa, man, that's crazy, you know?
It's a game changer.
Game changer, yeah. And I see you painting in the reds, you know, with red lighting and just different colors. I was like, that's what's up.
Yeah. It was huge. I forget who first showed it to me, but I was like blown away right off the bat. I was like, oh my God. And I'd been painting, and whenever I paint, I have a light right next to right on my thing, you know. And I had been painting with I don't know what color light all these years until I got turned on to that, and then I was like, wow. There was like instantly, it was no going back. I would never, I couldn't work without them.
Yeah.
Even my headlamp has the 2700.
Oh, okay.
Calvin's.
Nice. Yeah, we're gonna do our match.
Yes. Look forward to it. When do you want to do it?
I'm leaving. I'm going Thursday, so I have tomorrow.
What's tomorrow?
Tomorrow's Wednesday. You're almost done here, right?
Yeah.
You're almost done here.
What time tomorrow? I can
and then we did our podcast, you know.
Yeah.
After, you know, you're almost done, right?
Yeah.
And then we can do it.
Nice little. That would be awesome, man. Nice little roll.
So just let me know.
I'm all.
Let me know.
I'm all into learning, man. You won't even know you're wrong with me. Tell them around your neck.
Thanks, man. Well, thanks for man, all the work you painted the tack foot room. You painted a bunch of Robert Millers all over the place. Our logos, and it's just such a it's a big pleasure to just Mike Tyson. I love Mike Tyson.
Thank you, man. That really
Mike Tyson, Coach Andy, Jeff Glover. I mean, like all my heroes, you know. So it's like,
me, man. That really does it.
So when I saw you painting that first, what was the first one that you did? I think you did my painting, and I was like, what? What's that?
Yeah.
You know, it blew my mind. And then, so just I'm grateful, man. Grateful to you.
Right back at
for
you,
your
man.
work.
Right back at you. Good to get me out here, to get me out, get my name out, you know. All
Yeah.
that stuff.
And
I gotta come out of my closet.
People don't believe that you're a black belt, you know.
Yeah.
They see you painting, like, what, this painter? He's a black belt. He's this. He's that. You know. How can people find more of your work? Do you have a website or social media?
I have an Instagram page, Catalano _art. You want to check out some of my stuff there?
Isn't it T Catalano?
TEE
_TEE _ Catalano, right?
No, TEE Catalano _.
Got it.
art.
Cool. I tag you in my stuff.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I really do, man. 'Cause
Yeah.
I know you tag something, you get like 2,000-3,000 likes. I'm like, damn. I just started my Instagram page like a few months ago. So.
Social media's crazy, huh?
Yeah.
From back in the day, what it can do, you know?
Yeah. That's all you need nowadays.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Thank you, brother.